Welcome to Cardone Debates. This is Dana. It's Tuesday, February 24th, 5 p.m. Happy to have you guys. We have a couple new guests, and we're talking about, is Bitcoin over? So we're doing some audio testing. So if you guys see any problems, just let us know, and we will be fixing it. But first, I'm going to introduce the new guests, and then we'll get started. We'll bring on Gary. And let's go. Rajat, we're so happy
Dana.
to have you. Hey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to this conversation with Gary, with Tyler, with Grant. It's gonna be great. I'm a CFA charter holder. I worked in finance before. I was in finance, different jobs within financial services, and I came across Bitcoin maybe 5 years ago or so. Well, I came across it earlier, but I finally started studying it about 5 years ago, and I think it's completely changed my life.
So when did you first get into Bitcoin? How long ago was that?
So I think I first heard about it around, it was early. It was like 2010, but I didn't do anything with it. I didn't buy it. I just thought it was too complicated. I thought it was a waste of my time, a waste of my money, and clearly I was fully wrong. I'm willing to admit that. And then I heard about it again in like 2013 or 2014, but I was in school, and again I was thinking I'm going to focus on my studies. I can do much better in getting a job instead of buying Bitcoin. Didn't really want to learn about it again. 2017, same thing. I was doing my CFA, ignored it again. And then 2021, it was a coworker who actually introduced me to it. It was either 2020 or 2021. And after I started studying it, oh man, it's changed my view of the world. I thought I knew about money before, but after I studied Bitcoin, it was, oh man, it was wild. Because when you have a certain view of the world and the financial services industry, I mean, it treats money in a certain way, and I feel like it doesn't want you to learn the truth. But once I started studying Bitcoin, again, it changed my perspective of everything. I used to think that dollars are all you want, but now, I mean, no way. Get away from dollars ASAP. Give away your dollars. Don't hold on to dollars. Cash out of dollars and into Bitcoin as soon as you can.
Yeah, so you got in pretty early then.
I heard about it early, but I got it. I figured it out. I'm not even figured it out, but I think I got orange pilled in like 2023. Truly
Okay.
orange pilled.
So you're on X, YouTube, you have your own channel. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, if you just search for Rajat Soni on YouTube, you'll find me. You'll find me on X. I have my own community, a school community where I just talk about all kinds of different Bitcoin related topics. We have questions. We have a live session every week. We have courses. All that is available to everyone.
Very cool. Yeah, you guys want to check him out. Rajat is awesome. Gary, are you doing a There Will Be Blood?
Dude, what is the deal with the picture?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it matches exactly the thumbnail of Bitcoin is over.
Cardone's dead. Do I look like I'm a dead man or something? Because I see myself like I'm in a black hole or something.
We all feel dead right now. Hey, Grant, how's it going?
What up, G-Dog?
Hey, Grant. Hey, Gary.
You need to unmute Grant. Hey, Rajat, good to have you, buddy. Good to have you.
Yo, what's going on, guys? How's everybody doing? Hope you guys are getting cash flow today. I have a bad signal. Do y'all have a good signal or bad signal?
Sound great.
I think I have a good signal. Mine has been okay. I can see you, Gary. Grant, your audio seems good. Your video seems great.
Rajat on the side is also a sound. He's a sound engineer. So he's been helping us with our sound in the background before we started. Grant.
Okay, the cats are watching.
Love it.
Hey, Tyler. Tyler is a Bitcoiner. Nice. That's very brave of you to be wearing that orange tie right now with this price point.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I have the orange tie. Got the orange watch. And my favorite are the shoes, the sailor shoes, the strategy shoes, which tend to sell out very quickly. So I had to
You're all dude.
so those are quite difficult to find.
Tyler has Tyler, your audio is still a little bit sketchy, but
Yeah,
you know, see if you can get some better connection. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But thank you for representing Bitcoin. We need somebody to do that here.
Okay, let's see. I'm in my office right now. If I'm just gonna sit in a chair. How's that?
Cool.
We just
Better or worse?
We just want you comfortable, Tyler. It's important.
Yeah.
Make sure your hemorrhoids are really, really comfy, man.
How about now? Is it?
It's okay. It's all right.
No.
It's a little delayed. It's okay. Maybe try connecting with your hotspot or something. We're all broke now, so now we don't even have money for Wi-Fi and good.
Yeah, I must be having a really bad connection. Did all of you guys just see that, or was that just me?
Yeah, no, Tyler, you need to bail out and come back in or something. You're really bad, buddy.
Okay, Tyler, find another Wi-Fi.
We're gonna go to the wife's office.
I just booted him. He can figure it out. My brother's left. Rajat, what's the deal, dude? You show up and we have all types of technical difficulties, huh?
I don't know. I guess all the internet just focus on my stream here. I take all of your bandwidth.
It's just your frequency is so high.
There you go.
Blows the circuits of
the energy is too positive. I'm too bullish. That's why.
Let's go, boys. What? Look, Dana, while you're trying to work stuff out, Rajat, why are you bullish right now? The price of Bitcoin sucks. Bitcoin's dead. There's no buyers. The whale, the hodler. I wish this word hodler had never been invented. Like, I actually thought it meant you guys were acquiring. But what it really means, you're just holding on to your little token, bought 13, dude, and did nothing. And it's like, oh, okay, you're $300 Bitcoin. And you're not buying $90,000 Bitcoin. You're just holding on to 300, sitting in spaces, supporting me buying 90.
Honestly, I think
I'm calling me a student and then making me like I'm an idiot. It's like, wow, this is awesome. You guys know how to really, really treat the new money.
If I'm being honest with you, I don't see any reason to be bearish right now. I mean, a lower price is a good thing, right? If you're still stacking, I don't just hodl, I stack and I buy as much as I can. See, one thing that I've learned from yourself and from Grant is create as much value as you can and convert that into hard assets, because if you don't, at some point you're going to get screwed over. The entire system is designed to screw you over, to keep you trapped working forever, right? And I think that's what Bitcoin protects you against. If you hold on to Bitcoin, there's no way that you're going to get screwed over by the fiat currency financial system. To me, these prices are generational buying opportunities. Like I posted something today where I said 60,000 is the new 16K. 16K was after FTX collapsed, right? And right now it feels like sentiment is even worse than back then.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be I think that's all you can say right now. Tyler,
Sorry about that, guys. I just had to switch to my phone. If it happens to work better, let me know.
That's a little better. You're still delayed, but we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just give you a quick background. I actually met you, Grant. Dana introduced us in
Grant dropped
in Connecticut. Oh, we dropped off.
Yeah.
Oh, they're Gary's on. Well, I had the chance to meet your brother Grant in Greenwich, and his two daughters and family during the family office presentation at Corjana, which was pretty nice. Had a chance to spend some time with Michael Saylor as well. So it was one of the highlights of the year that Dana was able to sneak me into that conference.
Tyler, what is a big sailor? Tell us about your background as sailor in the newsletter that you're going to be doing. Tyler's probably the sailor pro I think
to
there
give
is.
you a background, I was in wealth management for about 10 years. I hate it. I worked at one of the major wirehouses. Not sure if I should name it. One of the reasons I hated it so much is my first month there, I was so excited to talk about Bitcoin. It's like the only thing I wanted to talk about. And I got called in by compliance and they said, we saw you use the word Bitcoin in an email. If you ever use that word again, you'll be fired, you'll lose your license, you'll be sued. And not only will you be sued, the bank will be sued. Remove that from your vocabulary. You cannot own it. No one in your family can own it. If we find out that you have bought it, you will be fired, you will lose your license. And they basically scared the shit out of me because at that point I had already had some from 2013 that I was playing around with, buying stuff on Alibaba, trinkets here and there, a couple hundred Bitcoin for a couple hundred sunglasses.
Right, bro, on Silk Road, be honest.
No, I never did get a chance to visit Silk Road, but I was just, the air was taken out of the balloon when compliance basically said, you can't discuss this. Not only that, but you can't own it. And so I sat there and watched it go from $300 to $20,000, legally not being able to buy it. And if I tried to, every investment is monitored, I would lose my securities license and be fined and sued. And they really did scare the shit out of me. At the same time, Ross was going to jail. It had crashed from 1,000 down to 200. And the firm was like, look, we are a top 3 brokerage house in the world. Our job is to not lose money. If you even bring up that word to one of our clients, like, you're fired. It's not even discussion like that. Like, the entire purpose of a financial advisor is to not lose your money. And so holding Bitcoin in a portfolio that's actively managed would scare the shit out of investors, especially back then in 2016, 2017, watching it go up even today. I did a survey, how early are we? I called 10 financial advisors yesterday after Dana told me the topic. Out of the 10, they have 100 clients on average. Only half of them are allowed to sell Bitcoin, and that just became available 6 months ago. 3 out of 1,000 clients have Bitcoin. So out of the 10 advisors, on average, they had 100 clients. On average, 50 to 100 million per advisor. So, we're talking about 3 out of 1,000 people, and the allocation, 1% for one client, 2%, 3%. And it was because the client called the advisor and said, I want to buy IBIT. The advisor legally still cannot add Bitcoin to the portfolio. It's still not allowed. They're going to have to go through a whole training process. And the problem is, in my mind, when you have between 2 to 10 million, 2 to 20 million, these clients just don't want to, they're paying you to they're paying you to underperform the S&P 500. That's your goal. Your goal is to strip away the volatility of the S&P 500 and give them a nice, safe 7-8% return, right? That's where you get your 1 to 2% fee. And so they don't want to perform the S&P 500. They don't want to own NASDAQ, let alone Bitcoin. And so I think this is going to move a lot slower than people had anticipated with the banks, even though they've all opened up the doors. We can all buy an E-Trade or self-directed. It's going to be, I don't know, 5 years before we onboard everyone from 0 to 1%, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong, but I keep going back to like what Kathy Wood and Mark Yusko say, and that's if you're acting as a fiduciary and you're staring at the best performing asset in human history, you are obligated to consider it in a portfolio based on its properties. So you're not obligated to allocate it, but you're obligated to have a discussion. Because if you're under age 40 and you're making good money and you say, hey, I do want to beat the S&P 500. I want to grow my money. Like, I don't want a 64. I want to be, I'll take on the volatility. I don't mind it. You're
Okay,
more in
sorry,
breach of financial duty by not mentioning Bitcoin than by mentioning it at this point.
So when Tyler was telling me that, you know, a lot of these advisors are basically being told, like, I'm just gonna mute you for a second, Tyler, because there's a bit of a reverb. I think it's from you. Maybe it's from me.
Yeah.
Do you guys still hear that?
You did right. Let's just mute. Everybody mutes off when you're not talking. It really helps.
So when he was saying that, like, these advisors are basically being told that they cannot recommend Bitcoin. And not only that, if you have more than like a 10% gain or something like that, you basically get flagged. And I'd never heard of anything like this. Like, it's too much volatility. It's more of a risk, I guess, for the firm. Tyler, you can tell me if I'm getting that wrong. But Gary, have you heard of that before? Like, that was pretty shocking to me.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting to me is, because I agree with Tyler, what I found interesting is that 2 years ago, we were talking about a 1% allocation by the wirehouses, and we were going to be ecstatic. We were going to be jacked up. It was going to be the most awesome thing in history. And I find it interesting that with all the brilliant people in the room, we under or overestimated how quick the scale would be from new entrants. We and I think this is, like, I could be critical of the Bitcoin community, but the truth is, of all disruptions that ever happen, the people disrupting the market underestimate how long it takes. They always think, hey, I have the best thing in the world. Look at me. And nobody cares. Nobody cares, because inertia is a real thing. Inertia is a real thing, man. You have to, like, get me to move my money. You're going to have to pay me money to like have me migrate off of a platform I'm in. I've been in it 20 years. I know the people. They buy me lunch, you know, and just to show up here and go, oh, hey, I got Bitcoin. Look at this stuff. And you got to study 1,000 hours. Like, I got to study 1,000 hours. I might as well just go do some more painting. I can't study 1,000 hours. Come on, that's ridiculous. That is a ridiculous promotion. But to me, it's amazing that we all miss this, because I think there's less than 10 million people in Bitcoin on planet Earth, man. And I think if you start breaking it down, there's only 500 million people that are investors. And they're probably entities. They're not even people. It's just 500,000 entities. There's not 8 billion people going to buy Bitcoin ever. That's not going to happen. At least not. Look, you don't make Bitcoin successful by getting to 8 billion people. You make Bitcoin successful to get some critical mass, and we don't have it yet. We have no critical mass, really. It's so teenager. It's almost like, I hate to use this term, but just because you're a teenager and you can, you know, have an orgasm 14 times a day doesn't mean that it's like productive, right? And that it feels like that's what we do. We just like, we're not consistent. It's too jumpy. You know, it's like a teenager. Okay, go smash. I'm going to smash the Olympics. Oh, awesome, dude. You need to do 4 years of training though. Yeah, but I'm going to do it today. I'm ready. And you might, you know, philosophically be ready. But the market's not ready. There's no one's going to watch. They didn't set the stadium up. And I think we've been, and it's a heavy echo chamber also that we live in. That's why I didn't go to strategy in Vegas. I'm like, dude, I don't need more echo chamber. I need less echo chamber for Bitcoin because especially right now, I need more clarity on, hey, why is this happening? Bitcoin should have followed gold. It was given an olive branch, man, and it didn't. And you know, I'm not a $300 Bitcoiner. I do not have the luxury of sitting here going, oh, it's just 60 grand, dude. I'm at 300, so I'm good to go. Okay. I'm at 60 grand. I'm holding on to 60. If I'm not selling 60, that means I'm a buyer of 60. But I need to understand, hey, why is this 60 here when gold did something spectacular? Okay. And there may be some really good reasons for that. But to hide behind a room and go, well, you know, the old people don't understand Bitcoin. That's why gold went up. Dude, that's a horrible,
I think the
horrible concept.
turning point here, I agree with everything you just said. And we all had it wrong. All of us in our bubble had it wrong for what we imagined with the banks coming on. We have the executive branch, Congress, new chairman of the Fed, all Bitcoiners.
The only thing that we have done well is gotten it wrong consistently. Every human being. I don't care if you were Jesus Christ of Bitcoin, you got it wrong. And I got to tell you, it makes me happy, but it also makes me like, whoa, dude, what if the whole thing is wrong?
So, something that I personally experienced is we're so early that I'm a CFA charter holder, and I constantly talk about Bitcoin. I'm constantly posting about it. I'm extremely bullish, at least in my opinion. The CFA Institute actually investigated me twice for posting about Bitcoin, and I could potentially lose my charter, but I'm not going to stop talking about it, right? Because there's always people out there who need to learn about this thing, and I genuinely think that it can change their lives. Right. And I think what we're doing here is what's going to change a lot of people's future, where they may not even have come across Bitcoin yet. And if we just talk to them in basic terms and we just dumb it down for them, I think a lot of people will want to own it. And I think that's the power of social media, where there are people out there who probably weren't even expecting to find out about Bitcoin. And now they're getting the seeds planted. They keep getting more and more content thrown at them, and it keeps coming. It keeps coming. My goal is to just keep creating and keep creating. I don't care if I lose my charter. I don't care if people are offended. I'm going to keep creating content because I know that in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, we're all going to be right. Bitcoin is the future. There's nobody in the world that can change it. Nobody can stop it. Nobody can censor it. We've been.
That's all true, man. That's all true. Yeah. But right now, nobody wants to buy it.
That's it. But that's how it works with every asset, though, right? I think a lot of people just get fearful. They think that, oh, Bitcoin's down 50%. It's going to have to go down 75%. It's going to have to go down 80%.
Do you think that? I don't think anybody's thinking about that. Okay.
I don't think. No, go ahead.
Like, I don't think people are thinking about, hey, I don't think anybody's thinking about Bitcoin except us.
Yeah. And I think we're creating that foundation. Right. And
I think where this is going to change, and this is why I'm so bullish on Saylor and MicroStrategy, is at that family office meeting in Connecticut where I met your brother and your nieces, Sabrina, I think. But at that meeting, when Saylor talked about his preferred products, okay, you live in California, New York, you can get 11%. 5 to 6 times over collateralized, tax deferred return of capital. the investor doesn't care where it's coming from. BlackRock is going to stick that in the portfolio. I mean, BlackRock and Capital Group, I think between the two of them own 10% of STRC. And so how is it going to scale? Well, what does everyone want? Everyone wants a boring 10% zero volatility asset. Give me a checking account that pays 10%. And so that's where I see the brilliance of the traditional system meeting the Bitcoin system. And there are people like Gary and Grant and like Michael Saylor that have to be that bridge, right? I mean, the real estate Bitcoin combination is genius. The STRC
Cutting out again.
giving someone Bitcoin and they don't need to know anything about it. Like they don't have to study it. All they know is they get a 10%, 11% over collateralized product. And if they don't trust it, the company, MSTR, will pretty soon, BlackRock or Fidelity is going to wrap that product, move it down to 8 or 9%, strip away the volatility, give it to you 8%, zero vol. Who wants that? Everyone. Everyone wants a checking account, savings account that pays 8, 9% with zero volatility monthly. And so the moment that BlackRock or JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley wraps STRC and strips away the volatility by adding cash to it, all of a sudden, you do have 8 billion people that want 10% return on their fiat. They don't, it's like owning the S&P. You don't know what you own. Most of the world can't tell you 10 companies that are in the S&P 500. You just know that you own the S&P. And I think the same thing's going to happen with Bitcoin is you're not going to know. Like MSTR gets into the S&P 500 eventually. Coinbase is already in. Tesla's in. You got a couple other, Block is in. People already own Bitcoin and they don't know it. They own 0.0001% based on the holdings of those companies relative to the S&P weighting. But if you own the S&P, you own Bitcoin because you own companies that own Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And so I think the bridge is going to be the more successful way. You're not going to get your 80-year-old grandma to do cold storage and take on an asset that's flying up and down 50%. It's not going to happen. It's going to take time, and it's going to take some of those bridge products. But on the fiduciary side, 1% or even 0.5%, you can no longer ignore it. If you're managing money for an endowment, like Mark Yusko and Kathy Wood, they say this over and over, it's your fiduciary responsibility. You have to consider it. You don't have to allocate. You're not forced to buy it.
I think they might have had to consider it politically, a few months ago. Today, I think people are going to be able to go, hey, look, this thing's all over the place. I really believe a lot of our narrative is narrative. It's paper narrative. It doesn't have enough meat on the bone yet. Because as soon as you start talking about the STRC products, like I moved $3 million from bonds into the STRC product. Sat down with my bankers and said, hey, you guys stick me in this bullshit bond thing. I've been there for a long time. And I was being nice. I mean, like, this is what they do, though, to protect themselves, right? And they gave me a bunch of money at one time. So they've got half of some funds sitting in a bond. I said, look at this STRC product that came out 6 months ago. You've already validated that MSTR is a valid company because I'm borrowing against it with this particular bank. So they understand I'm in Bitcoin. I said, look, why don't you move the bonds that are making 2 or 3 or 4 and move them to 11.5? That helps me. It helps you. Your fees are paid. My fees are paid. I have people in the Bitcoin community going, well, that's not real Bitcoin. This is the problem with Bitcoin. Okay. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? $3 million worth of bonds were sold. And I bought $3 million worth of STRC, which then allowed Saylor to go out and buy $3 million worth of Bitcoin. Oh, yeah, but it's not Bitcoin in self-custody. Dude, you guys, I did not know I was at Baskin Robbins. I really didn't. I don't want all these different flavors, man. I just want to be able to acquire the product. And if I want to put it in self-custody and stick it up my ass, dude, it's my business. If I want to do it with Fidelity and go to parties and be invited to the yachts, it's my business. Okay. And in the apocalypse, when we go Mad Max, I understand that I am not going to be able to call my buddies and go, hey, I need to do a peer-to-peer transaction, dude. I got it, man. That's why I have my ammo and my weapons and my food and my water.
But that's the best. That's the best thing about Bitcoin, right? You get choices. You can do whatever you want to.
It's a beautiful option.
Yeah.
It is the most
best thing.
Beautiful option with no duration risk. Yet the community slams all types of characteristics of control and requirements and flavors, and you have to do this and you have to do that. And it's like, wow, man, it's so antithetical to the entire philosophical.
That's the viewpoint, is that the whole pitch is freedom, yet you have to do it our way or it's the wrong way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But even that's anti-freedom. Like if you have to do it somebody else's way, that's anti-freedom. But like you could do it however you want to. And that's the greatest thing about Bitcoin, right?
It's also very bad marketing though.
Right.
See, the thing that I have learned is the decentralization is an awesome theory. It's a beautiful theory that we would all be monk-like and being spiritual little nodes and, making the world radiate. I mean, I actually think if we all decided that we were going to do that, we would most certainly become the antennas of all frequency. But until that happens, man, we need to, like, the way to get Bitcoin throughout the whole world is the price must move. Like you guys don't really price is the thing. Like prices actually give something, whether they're real or not. Okay, look at diamonds.
That's the chief marketing officer of Bitcoin, is the price.
Exactly, dude. It's your temperature gauge, right? Oh, I have a fever. Oh, I'm cold as dust, man. Bitcoin is cold right now. Okay, it'd be the last place you need to put your money right now in Bitcoin. So as soon as we start confronting some of the weaknesses of Bitcoin, we will get stronger. Like I like what we're going through. I can't believe that I'm buying $57,000 Bitcoin.
That's the thing.
I can't believe it. I know I'm going to buy $58,000 Bitcoin.
I think that's the greatest. That's one of the greatest things about Bitcoin, though, right? Like if you hold for the long term, it's a huge test of your conviction. If you're not convicted enough, you're probably not buying here. Grant, I know you're buying. Tyler, I know you're buying right now. I'm buying. I bought one of my biggest purchases today. I made one of my biggest purchases today because the price went down. I mean, that's a great reason to buy. I think everybody should be doing that. But again, the thing is that people see the price going down. They think it's going to go much lower, or they don't, like you said, Gary, they don't even think about it. They don't even care about it, right? It's not on their radar. They don't care. I
do think they care though. Okay, like you people are going around, hey, one Bitcoin's one Bitcoin. Dude, yes. Come on, man. Hey, if you're looking at Bitcoin in $60,000 terms, you don't understand Bitcoin. Come on, you sound like a damn pope at the Vatican, okay? Or some Jew that's got this bizarre viewpoint on his religion. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So you don't agree with that? You don't agree with that? Like, let's say, for example, if somebody has one, I mean, I believe one Bitcoin is worth one Bitcoin. Eventually, the price will have to go up.
Yeah. Listen, you know what? Yeah. One Rajat is one Rajat. I got it, but it doesn't. It's a demeaning comment. It doesn't accomplish anything for me because the truth is the price sucks. Yes, I do have 5 Bitcoin over here. Okay, I got it. My 5 Bitcoin or my 5 Bitcoin. However, They're worth less by half that they were. And anyone that believes that price is not relevant, one of the reasons we're in this fucking problem is because Satoshi and all of his genius issued too much stock too early, too cheap. That's my view. There's 4 million Bitcoin. The 4-year cycle, by the way, I think is intact. Okay. I don't think it was characterized correctly in the first place, but there's 5 million Bitcoin sitting in cold storage for $300. Until that Bitcoin hits a new 5-digit price, we will continue to have this problem. This vomiting, almost puking, this extreme projectile vomiting of trying to do too much too quick with too little. There's not enough liquidity here. And everybody
what I think though is,
hold on. Everybody thought the liquidity, everybody was going to sell going up. No, that's not what's happening. What's going to happen is people are going to sell because it's going down and unpredictable. And those 4 million coins are sitting there going, dude, the price will move from 120 to 60. Now, you don't think that guy holding 10,000 Bitcoin doesn't acknowledge that. He's crazy and illogical if he's not looking at that. Okay, that makes no sense. His wife most certainly will be going, I think the house, we could have bought a nicer house, honey. And I could use some shoes beyond flip-flops.
I don't know. I look at it a different way. When the price goes down, that's the only reason why we're able to buy 57K, 60K Bitcoin, right? If people hadn't had the fear, if the price didn't go down, there'd probably be a lot less Bitcoin available to buy because people wouldn't be like a lot of people that are selling right now. I think they're selling out of fear. And I think they're selling because maybe they don't quite understand what they have and they're giving it away because they think that what they have is going to go to zero and they want to get out before that happens, right? But that works to our advantage.
And I'm saying structurally, I don't really care why they sell. They need to sell because they're inactive.
Yeah,
they are inactive players in the Bitcoin community. If you think holding on to 1,000 Bitcoin at $300 is doing anything, it's not helping anyone. It's only helping you. Like you and your family.
I will say just this.
I need
thing
to be able
about
to
the
do
markets
something with this energy, right? I want this energy to do something. I'm supposed to transport this energy for good things, right? But I'm holding on to it on a third world island. I mean, how's that helping everyone?
But isn't that what the legacy financial system is all about? Like, let's say stocks, for example, you're just holding on to them. You're not really helping anybody. Bonds, you're just holding on to them. You're not helping anybody. If somebody buys tons of real estate.
But see, the difference is you didn't issue Jeff Bezos at 0.0000000 cost, okay, and let him just puke out tokens without any metrics. And that's what's happening right now. You have token holders. I mean, you have a lot of structural issues in the whole industry, but we have 4 to 5 million coins that if you thought the mining was going to impact the price, well, you should have been right? Because the mining is reducing over time rapidly, fairly exponentially, and therefore you should see an exponential price change. But what's happening? We forgot the 5 million Bitcoin that are priced at $300 that have zero incentive to move, other than death, divorce, and hey, I just want to get the fuck out.
But one
thing I'll just say
for markets to work the way it's trying to work,
yeah,
they have to be really big. And Bitcoin's, why is the price moving so much? Because it's a tiny little lake. And every rock,
$1 trillion to $2 trillion asset, and it's going to continue to swing until it gets bigger. But the one thing I'll say on the price is it's the only thing in the world when it goes on sale, people freak the fuck out. When you have Black Friday, people will trample over each other to get an 80% discount on their favorite item. Your favorite thing in the world right now is Bitcoin, and you have a job or you have cash flow or access to cash, you should be excited because it was either you or your brother that said, I think in numbers, and you mentioned the number 10,000. I have my own personal number. It's not that high. It's somewhere between 1 and 100, but I have it in my head, and it's really hard for me to get to that number if the price is at $500,000 today. Mathematically, it would be very difficult. And so we're upset when it goes up and we can buy more. But then when it goes down, we're upset because we lose purchasing power. And it's like Bitcoiners are never happy because when it goes up, I didn't buy enough. When it goes down, you unless you're 100% allocated and have no cash flow and have no job, well, then, yeah, you're living off of your Bitcoin. That's a bad situation. But if you have cash flow, you're not 100% allocated. If this happens to be your favorite thing in the world, this is your Gucci bag that you've always wanted or your whatever Black Friday item, you should be like, oh my God, it's on sale. I get a 45% discount on my favorite item that I know in 10 to 20 years from now is going to be worth a lot more than today. I should be excited. And that's more of a human mentality, psychological thing with investing, where Warren Buffett has always gotten that right. You know, you look at the fear of the greed index. Mark Yusko talks about it all the time. It's the only thing in the world that when it goes on sale, people freak out, as opposed to, oh, hey, this is my favorite thing. Let's buy more of it.
Yeah, I don't I get what you're saying there, Tyler. I agree where you're saying we wish we had more when the price goes up, but when it goes down, we're happy because we can buy more. I actually think that Bitcoiners are always happy. From what I've seen, Bitcoiners are always happy because when it goes up, the purchasing power goes up, and then when it goes down, they get to buy more. They get to get more of this finite asset, and they get to accumulate as much of it as they possibly can. I'm at least that's what I'm experiencing. No matter what, I'm always happy because either my purchasing power goes up, and I have keep in mind I have like a 30, 35, 40 year time horizon, right? I'm going to keep holding this thing. I'm going to keep buying as much as I can over time. Like, to me, this is a great opportunity to stack and to put my money to work, right? If somebody, if I think if people are worried about this drawdown, maybe the time horizon isn't correct for them.
Also, Amazon, there's 5 people from the day of the IPO that never sold. They went through 4 85% drawdowns. They went through 6 50% drawdowns. Do you know who didn't sell? Jeff, his wife, his parents who loaned him the money, and Bill Miller, who was just a big early believer. They all bought more when it went down 85%. Think about how many people in the world worked at Amazon and were given shares, or that bought the IPO, watched it go down 85%, watch it go up in the 90s, watch it crash. Oh, they have revenue, but no profits. They're never going to be profitable. They're never going to be profitable, right? That was the whole thing. They have sales, but they're never going to make it, right? Well, they just passed Walmart last week as the number 1 company in the world for revenue, right? We all knew that was going to happen. AWS gives them their profit. And if you're an early adapter, you have to stomach those 85% drawdowns. And there were only 5 people in the world that had stomachs hard enough. And that's because that was their livelihood, right? Jeff and his wife, and then the parents that loaned the money, and then Bill Miller, who just believed in it, right? He was an investor who doubled down every time and got fantastically rich on it, and is now on the Bitcoin train and doing the same thing. And so I just think there's a lesson in that conviction. To me, there is no better long-term asset than Bitcoin. I've spent. I'm not as experienced as some of you, but I've spent my entire life studying assets ever since I was a kid. My family's been in real estate. I joined my dad at Merrill, Bank of America. At one point, I owned over 500 assets, stocks, bonds, property, you name it. Today, I only want two things: cash and Bitcoin. I don't want anything else. I rent. Our place burned down in the Palisades. And so we moved to Central California. And you look at the mortgage rate, and then you think, what, I'm going to sell my Bitcoin or stocks for this down payment and take out, you can't buy a place here for less than 2 million. I'm going to take out $2 million mortgage and then become a debt slave. No, I'm going to rent and I'm going to keep buying more Bitcoin. And maybe in 10 years, when the price of my dream house is 1 Bitcoin or less, I'll change my mind. But for now, in my position, I went from telling everyone that they should be fully diversified, give me 1 to 2% for me to manage your money. We'll strip away the risk. Let's do this carefully. We'll use BlackRock, Capital Group, whoever as our portfolio managers. We got a whole risk department to make sure that none of the positions ever go over 5%, because we don't ever want that to happen. So if your Apple stock goes over 5, we'll sell it for you. Don't worry. If your Amazon goes over, we'll sell it for you, because we have to, because you're not allowed to have a concentrated position in managed money. You can't. You'll get fired. That's the quickest way to get fired, right? And so the whole point is to rebalance. And then, of course, 2020 came, and when Saylor was like, every single boat has a leak. I'm an engineer, and I see a boat that doesn't have a leak on it. I have 10 kids. Am I going to put my 10 kids, like one in each boat, and hope it works out? Or am I going to put all 10 kids in the boat without the leak? Right? And for someone like me, who went to a traditional school, Notre Dame, got an MBA at a traditional school, UCLA Anderson, I'm doing everything I was told not to do. Does that make sense? And so, like, people think I am crazy or that we are crazy. People think we are crazy because everything I was taught growing up, everything from every textbook, which was Keynesian economics, by the way, we never learned about Austrian economics. And by the way, I did the executive program at Anderson. I guarantee you, at least 50% of the people that graduate can't tell you the difference between a stock and a bond. They don't know what their 401k is invested in. We learn nothing. And these are two great schools. Like, I love Notre Dame. You look behind, I got all my other than my Bitcoin stuff, it's like my Notre Dame stuff all over the wall. It's just Notre Dame and Bitcoin, right? And so that is part of the problem, is no one ever educated us on money. We memorized poems, and we learned about philosophy and history and this and that, but nobody ever taught us about money or the gold standard. And so I had to go back and learn that on my own. UCLA didn't teach me that. My MBA didn't teach me that. Notre Dame didn't teach me that. I learned that stuff from Mark Yusko, from Michael Saylor, from the AI. I asked the AI, hey, if you were me and you had to create a diversified portfolio for 21 years and choose any asset in the world, real estate, stocks, bonds, anything, what would it be? The AI responded, Tyler, if I was in your position, I'd be 100% Bitcoin. Here's why. And it explained in
Did that
detail.
make you feel better, Tyler?
It did. Yeah. Because I was like,
there we go,
I'm
man.
not crazy after all.
This
I'm
is
not
what you
crazy
learn
after
on
all.
these
The AI
debates,
gets
okay?
it.
What you learn here is you just go into Grok or Chat GBT and ask it what to do, and it will validate what you should do. Allocation 100% by Tyler Tabbitt. I like it, man. I like the allocation.
So Tyler's very
No, I don't. I take that back. I am very I'm very careful with what I say because I don't ever want to give investment advice. And so please don't anyone ever. My thing is get off of zero. I have to be very careful with what I say, right? I don't want to be sued, especially with my background. But
Gary, are
it's
you
about education, and getting off of zero is the most important, right? Just going from 0 to 1%. Then you have skin in the game. Maybe you'll pay attention. Maybe you'll start to read. And so my whole thing is I left my job that was comfortable, that was traditional, to go into magic internet money, which is fucking insane. And my goal is to educate people. So what I'm doing is I started my LLC a month ago. I told me do it out of Wyoming, don't do it out of California. Okay, great. I don't know why, but Wyoming's better somehow, some way. So I did my Wyoming LLC, Bitcoin Strategy Group, and underneath it are about a dozen companies. You know, like 3 years ago during the bear market, I bought Bitcoin Treasury Advisor, the Bitcoin Business Advisor, um, the Sailor series, the Sailor Strategy, the This Is Why We Bitcoin.com. I basically bought all of the Bitcoin websites because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And now I'm thinking like it's education. It has to start with education. And so my grandma, my mom
can you guys
would
hear me?
rather hear stories. And so I think
Tyler.
like this is why we big. Yeah.
So I want to hear how bullish you're. Very bullish. I want to hear how bullish, Gary, you are right now, because I know you talk about marketing is bad, but are you starting to think, because you're pretty consistent around the idea of Bitcoin, but are you starting, and I know what you think, Rajat, so you're bullish as well, but are you starting to think that maybe the timeline is the problem? So the timeline keeps getting moved out, 4 years, 7 years, etc., or could. So is that your hesitation, or what do you think?
Well, look, I'm looking at some of the comments here. People saying, "Hey, I haven't done my homework," or, "Oh, this is the bear market. Gary's this is his first time. This is not my first time here." Okay. But look, all that's ego shit, right? The truth is Bitcoin is performing poorly. Like, get it out, man. Say it. Get used to it. It's not the Olympian that everyone has been very comfortable with. And we have to quit saying, hey, it's the greatest investment since sliced cheese. Never been better, ever, without like, this gets back to marketing, okay? When you're trying to get someone interested, you don't oversell. You undersell. You underpromise and you overdeliver. And the Bitcoin community has overpromised with timing. And then when it's wrong, they, hey, man, just get more Bitcoin. Okay. I'm just saying the marketing on this is wrong. We have something fundamentally wrong in our understanding of this supply and demand. We do, guys. We have to acknowledge everybody and their brother thought this was going to 220. Mark Yuska, Michael Saylor, dude, I know every one of these people, and they've all been wrong. Like, I have no clue where it's going.
But people also
just but I think that we like it doesn't fade my interest in Bitcoin. It does make me recalculate and go, hey, does my allocation need to be as high? Okay. There are other things that I can invest in that clearly do not have the some of the exposure that Bitcoin has. This is not the only opportunity in life. I mean, I just think people need to understand the next money that's coming to this marketplace have tons of options. Okay. In order for us to get here, I hear these things, hey, the suits are coming. Dude, if you guys don't want the suits, you do not have a market. Zero. You don't have a market. I'd like to know if you guys don't want us here, I'll get the fuck out of here. Okay. Like, I'll go somewhere else and I can make a lot of money, but you're not going to make the money. you're not going to bring people in when you make them act, make them do things. It's so immature. I think that's my frustration with it. If you were behaving as if, oh wow, we're just kind of learning. If we were more humble, I would be cool with this. My only frustration is that, oh wow, everybody told me this motherfucker was going to roll, just run away from me. I was going to be left on the train. Nothing stops this train. And all of a sudden, Lynn comes up with a saying, and then all of a sudden, 40,000 people jump on the back of a saying, nothing stops this train. Print, 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 big money print. Okay. I mean, there's 12 people in this industry, and we just get jacked up like we're on a high school football team. And we're go Bitcoin, go Bitcoin, go Bitcoin. But we're getting our asses kicked right now. Okay. And my job is to be honest as the coach and go, hey, look, we're getting our asses kicked. We miscalculated on the field. Maybe we need different quarterbacks taking us into the 21st century than the quarterbacks that got us into the 20th century. And by the way, I just want to say, every business I've ever built, which looks really similar to Bitcoin, when there's drawdowns, you don't really know it. There's no liquidity. You can't get out. Every business I have ever built is exactly like what we're doing right now. The thing is, when Bitcoin draws down from 126 to 56, I do not have to fire any employees. And I don't have to hire anybody either. By the way, when that motherfucker goes to 400, I don't have to hire anybody either. I have no insurance, no NDAs, no maintenance, no weather risk. Weather risk is a real thing. Okay. No terror risk, mostly no terror risk. I can get it confiscated, by the way. This is bullshit that I cannot get my Bitcoin confiscated if I'm in self-custody. If somebody locks Dana up in a prison and says, bro, I need your keys, I'm going to give them the keys, dude. Let's stop acting like we're like gangster. Okay. We're not gangster. The gangster is having 3 intermediaries between me and you. That's gangster. Okay. Having a fucking paper product with a derivative and then an exchange that I get to sue into oblivion if they take my fucking money.
I see what you're saying there, Gary, but how many people are going to get arrested for their Bitcoin, right? If everybody, I think a lot more people are going to.
There's not enough people in Bitcoin. They could all get arrested. There's like probably less people in Bitcoin than there are pedophilia that are on the Epstein fucking folders. Like, I really do not think there's that many Bitcoiners, dude.
Yeah, but another thing that I try to.
By the way, why don't we know? We should know exactly how many Bitcoiners there are and their cost base is if it's so transparent.
But the transparency is on the blockchain, right? We don't know the specific people that have the Bitcoin, and I think that's
part of. Here's the difference, though. Here's the difference in the oil complex. If ExxonMobil has production fields in Brazil, in America, in the Gulf of Mexico, wherever, we know what their assets are, dude. South Marsh Island 247 Platform B has this much acreage under it, and there's this many reserves. Okay, and it's ExxonMobil. It's not blockchain, anonymous, some little tweaky guy's got 1 trillion barrels of oil, and we know what they have.
But that's the difference, right? Exxon's a publicly traded company. Bitcoin's not. Bitcoin's it's like, do you know how many people own gold?
Check this out. That's cool. But I get to invest in a public company. I can invest in Exxon.
But what are your thoughts on this? Do you know how many people own gold? Gold is the biggest asset in the world. The way that I see it, people are trading Bitcoin right now. They're selling Bitcoin.
Do you know how old gold is?
Thousands of years, of course.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
But that's what I mean, right?
It took 1,000 years for us to get to a point where we go, wow, everybody's got gold. Yeah, dude, that's my point.
That happened over 1,000 years ago, though, right? We already knew that everybody had gold. We already wanted gold we've wanted gold for thousands of years, right? But right now, the way that I see it, most people aren't trading Bitcoin as the asset that it is. Most people think it's a Ponzi scheme when clearly it isn't. Most people think that it's going to zero.
It looks like a Ponzi scheme, dude. The whole
How?
the Bitcoin industry is a Ponzi scheme.
No, but actual Bitcoin, like Bitcoin is not a Ponzi scheme. That's what people are saying. People are
Yeah.
saying Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme. People think
Yeah.
that the actual Bitcoin asset is a Ponzi scheme. But when you ask them, hey, how is Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme? They can't explain it. And I think that's the education is what's holding a lot of people back from holding, from not even holding, from buying. Because a lot of people, they don't quite understand that
There
Bitcoin
you
is
go.
not a Ponzi. It can't be a Ponzi scheme because Ponzi schemes have to be centralized. Bitcoin is not centralized, right? That lack of education is holding so many people from buying Bitcoin because I mean they think it's going to zero. They think it's a risky asset. To me personally, it's not a risky asset. If you have a long enough time horizon, you can hold it for ever if you want to, and eventually it will go up in
Listen,
terms of
dude,
dollars because
if I
there's
have
always
a
going to be
long
more
enough
dollars.
time horizon and I have anal cancer and I can hold on long enough, I mean, yeah, I can bloody it out, right? No pun intended.
I mean,
But
in that case, Bitcoin wouldn't be for you, right? Like the way that I see it, Bitcoin, you have to have a 4, 5, 6, 10-year time horizon to hold it. If you can't, then
look, the
Bitcoin's
time
not for you.
horizon is not a problem because
In
most
that case,
investments by the money that we're talking about, that is what their horizon is 12 and 20. So the time horizon is not the problem. The problem is no one knows about Bitcoin, and what they do know about Bitcoin isn't good.
yeah, I mean, but
I would agree with that.
that's the
Is
thing, right?
the
When we
education
were
right
talking about,
now, when you hear Bitcoin, people think cryptocurrency, it's the same thing as dog and cat and shitcoin. And separating Bitcoin from everything else is very important because if you talk to the average person and you tell them, oh, like I'm an investor in Bitcoin, they're like, oh, you're into cryptocurrency. And I'm like, well, just Bitcoin. What's the difference between Bitcoin and all the other? So there's you can go to 100 people on the street. I bet you one person can give you a good, decent explanation of Bitcoin. I would say it's at 1%, and we're at the
probably
very
less.
beginning. And education is going to be by far the biggest hurdle for this, which is
Yeah.
literally why I got into this was to educate. And so hopefully in even the smallest of ways I can make a difference through just storytelling and spreading it through kindness and love. Like the Twitter hate and the Twitter mob gets on you for not going away. That turns people off right away. Being kind, being honest, being transparent, um, sharing stories, right? I mean, that's what my goal is 21 stories, 21 unique stories of people, why they found Bitcoin. Because if you're in Venezuela right now, Iran, Lebanon, anywhere in Africa, what are you buying? Right? Like what are your options? If you're in the US, you're right. You do have a lot of other options. Absolutely. But if you're in, I don't know, half of maybe 2/3 of the rest of the world, you don't have that many options. Maybe gold, maybe US dollars, but Bitcoin to someone in El Salvador, in Venezuela is very different than Bitcoin to a client that has $5 million and is like, I don't need this thing. I don't need this thing at 1% of my portfolio. Who cares? Like, I don't need it. My life is comfortable. I don't need the extra risk. I have a advisor. They're going to give me my 7 to 8%. I'm going to pay them their fee. Everything's going to be good. Why do I want to even play in this game? And so I would say Bitcoin is for people that are at the lower end of the totem pole more so than at the top. That's my personal view on it.
I think though that it is important to not completely gaslight, ourselves over and over again when clearly the market is not doing well. And I mean, Gary has a good point where, now institutional money started to get in, you have the ETFs, and now what? Now they're starting to listen. And only when they start to listen, now they have a bad taste in their mouth. And so you know, it is still important to kind of know that, like, well, there there are other opportunities right now, unfortunately. And so if we just kind of bully each other and say like, oh, well, it's not for you, then I mean, that gives some sort of comfort because it helps you know that this is typical. Like Rajat, you've seen many cycles before and it's clear that your stomach is solid for this. But when you're an institution and now you've realized like it's not going to the moon or right now what? I mean, Gary, it seems like you are still like you still do like the idea of Bitcoin. What do we need to do then to change the narrative to make the price go up? Because people are only going to get interested again when the price goes up. And you have big whales that are selling, you know, $700 million of Bitcoin at a time. Like, we can't really blink our eye at that either.
I think this volatility is normal. Like you can't have an asset grow without volatility. This is always going to happen, right? I think the more important thing isn't the highs. The more important thing is the lows. We have higher highs and higher lows over time, but those lows, they keep going up. And that, to me, that's really important because what I'm trying to build my wealth based on is a solid foundation. And Bitcoin seems to be building a very, very strong foundation at these lower prices. And that's perfectly fine, right? As long as, let's say, for example, if we go to 12K, then maybe there's a problem. If it goes to 10K, 5K, 3K, that's a problem. I don't think going from
why do you say that? I don't see that. Why would there be a problem? There shouldn't be any more of a problem at 10 grand than there is at 60.
Well, the way that I see it, the last all-time high the low was 15K in 2022. So if it goes below that, that means that even the people who were buying then, maybe they don't want to hold, right? But the way that I see it, every time there's higher highs and higher lows, there are more people.
Well, that's not true though, because 3 years ago, we had 69 grand. We crashed through that.
That's fine. That was a high. I'm okay with going
Yeah,
below
but
the previous
I thought
high.
in Bitcoin
I'm not
terms,
okay with.
we never retraced below. We never went below.
But how long did it stay at 69K for? It was only there for like 5 minutes.
Doesn't
Why
matter,
is that
dude.
relevant?
I thought all these charts were pristine, Puritan, perfect models.
Charts. I don't.
They're historical charts.
That's not something I say. I don't say that.
They're not predictive charts. They're historical.
Yeah,
and
but I mean, I don't say that.
into there and they said, "Oh wow, look at this."
Well, we did go below the last cycle.
Hang tight, Tyler. The price never goes below the previous 4-year high. It's like, really? Well, it just pierced it by 8 grand.
But keep in mind that it was above 60K last time for maybe a few days, right? So that price, I don't think that price is as important.
Dude, you can't do that.
Foundation.
You can't, Rajat. You can't pick and choose. Like if you
Gary,
take 70,000
we did touch
for 1 second, you gotta
20K
take
in
2018,
2018, remember? And then we went down to 16K. So last cycle, we also went below the previous high. So this is the second time we've done that now.
I'm not even arguing with you. I learned so much from you, man.
No. But listen, we're all learning from each other. But you said, hey, there's a problem. And I'm just going, oh, really? What would the problem be? What is the problem at 10 grand that you don't have at 60? Because it's just the same amount of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's Bitcoin. If it breaks down to 10 grand, why would you say there's a structural problem?
I think that the world has forgot the plot, right? They've forgotten
that
Bitcoin.
The world doesn't even know the plot.
I think there are more people. I think there are more people at that point who are selling after buying at 15K in 2022, and that's to me the problem. If we, let's say for example, if we go from 16K to 60K as the next low, I think that's okay. That's a 4x. I think that's fine, right? But if we go, let's say for example, if we go to 10K, that would mean that from 2022, when we had the low, when we had the worst capitulation event, it's done worse than that. I don't think that would be a positive. I think that would be a negative. Why,
dude? One Bitcoin's one Bitcoin. I mean, let's just stroke ourselves and
one Bitcoin's one Bitcoin, but again, it's about the supply that is being taken out of the market.
But you said there'd be a problem, so I'm just trying to understand. Okay, well, what changed? See, it's just a price; it doesn't matter. Except you'd be puking all over yourself.
So why are you worried about it going from 126 to 60?
But why am I worried about it? I'm worried about that not one human being got this right.
I think a lot of
There's
people got it right.
1,000
There are
experts in
people on social media who
Bitcoin.
were saying it was maxing out at 130 in 2025. Like Joe Carlos there, Carlos, sorry, I think that's his name. A lot of people were telling him that he's an idiot for saying it's going to go to 130 and then come down, but he called it. Not everybody was wrong.
No, Joe. If I did everything Joe said, I would be broke. Okay, so that's just
But
not true, guys.
Joe's
I have
guess
not.
was great,
Hey,
though,
I
right?
just want to say,
Out of all
I
the
have
people
not
here,
met
Joe was
one
the only one
human
who was right.
being that gets Bitcoin right. Which
But
that
out of all of us
hang
here,
tight,
Joe was the
man.
only one who was right.
Hang tight, okay?
Okay.
What I find fascinating about that, because we're going to end this in about 10 minutes, but
Okay.
what I find fascinating is that I like that no one's getting it. Okay, like that is the one consistent thread for me to hold on to Bitcoin right now. It is literally my thing. And for you guys that are going, oh wow, Gary's not really a Bitcoiner. You have no idea about who I am and how I think. It is my job to constantly think about, hey, could I be wrong? If you have an investment or you're with someone or you're doing something and you're so convinced you're not right, you're not wrong, and that you're the right one, that is something that I have learned to really go check out. Am I sure? Am I really, really, really sure? So like if you have $12 in Bitcoin and you don't really care what the price is doing right now, I got it. I have a lot of money sitting in this asset. So like it becomes really interesting to me. It's not a little hobby. Okay. And I didn't get in at 300. See, this is what I get back to. Oh, somebody with $300 Bitcoin and somebody with $80,000 Bitcoin, do they have a different perspective? Yes, they do, folks. And by the way, all the people that are buying the 70,000, they're not like you. Okay. They're buying it through paper products, all types of different, and it's institutions. And by the way, y'all did not check your addressable market.
Gary,
Okay?
can I ask you a
You
question?
are the addressable market. You've used all your money. So if you want Bitcoin to be a good industry, you have to welcome other people into this fucking thing because y'all are broke or you're so into Bitcoin, you don't want any more Bitcoin. See, that's the problem. We have people with 10,000 Bitcoin at 300 and they don't want any at 50,000. They're like, why would I buy 50,000? It's $10,000 below the current market, bro.
I mean, if they have thousands of Bitcoin, why do they need more? They don't necessarily need. Can I ask you, Gary? What's your
wait. The reason they don't have any more is because they don't have any money, or they're lying
they're spending their
because
money,
they don't
right?
really believe in their thesis.
I mean, they have enough wealth. So keep in mind, for some people, there's a limit to how much wealth they need, right? There's a limit. I mean, to me personally,
it's fine, Rajat. But look, all I'm trying to do is to be a pragmatic human being. The people that got Bitcoin to the point where it is, Max Kaiser is not buying Bitcoin in volume sufficient to pick up demand.
But how do you know that?
No, I know, dude. I can tell by the fucking price. Are you kidding me?
We have no idea how much Max Kaiser is buying.
Dude,
you said before we don't know how many people buying
Max
Bitcoin.
is the most extreme example, but you are not buying sizable chunks of Bitcoin with your fiat you mined yesterday afternoon. You may be buying more than you've ever bought, and you may be an exception. But what the case I'm building is that the organic community that got Bitcoin to where it is not going to take it to the next level for 1,000 different reasons. One, you're broke. So we have to ask the rest of the world to come into this space. And we can't keep going, well, gold's 10,000 years old. Yeah, that's inertia, dude. They have a moat. Okay, if you're looking at that as a competitor, you're like, you don't make it wrong. You go, look at me, man. I'm like gold 1,000 years ago. You don't make gold so heavy to move. Fuck it, dude. Why are we talking so badly about our?
I've been able to orange pill tons of people. I've brought probably 2,000-3,000 people into Bitcoin, and a lot of them are buying one or more coins. I think that's a significant amount of wealth, right? I think that's a lot of wealth going into Bitcoin.
To Gary's point, though, I mean, he's probably saying that makes a little bit of a difference, but when BlackRock comes in and Fidelity comes in and they actually start putting their clients in at 1% to 2%, like we had all thought was going to happen quicker, that's when it makes a difference. Because right now, the regular average client at the wirehouse has close to 0%, right? I just told you I spoke with 10 advisors, and 3 of their clients own Bitcoin. But part of that was because they legally were not allowed to sell it until 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I thought this would have happened quicker with Wall Street. But then again, I should have known better because banks move slow. When was the last time you went into a bank branch? I mean, it's the slowest moving thing in the world.
I mean,
So
look, I
it's
think
going to take longer than we all thought, I think.
Yeah. I think so. And I think in order to get to this next investor, you're going to use these instruments. Okay. And if we're going to make people wrong, go, well, they're not self-custody Bitcoin. And, I will say this fraction of different types of Bitcoin, that makes me the most uncomfortable. I love the thesis of Bitcoin. I have not sold one, whatever you call it, one digit of Bitcoin. Okay. But, we have a lot of wood to chop. I think that's just, I think you have 1 to 3 years to be able to buy cheap Bitcoin. There's no reason to stretch now. I remember a time when I thought, let me stretch it. Okay, price is 37. Let me stretch to 38 to pay for it. There's no reason to stretch here. Let the Bitcoin price come to you. And that to me this is what the audience needs. It doesn't need, oh, Gary's saying Bitcoin's the greatest thing since sliced cheese. It might be, but right now it's weak. And you pull your bids back, you set your bids, and you go, you know what? If it hits me at 58, awesome. If it doesn't, I'm not going to chase it. If it hits me at 59, 60, but I would not chase this thing right here. And that's not being bearish. That's me being supportive of the community, advising them, hey, look, I wouldn't chase this thing. Now, I am not chasing it here. I'm setting my bids and going, come hit me, man. I'll take some at 60. I wish the community would have done a better job with me. Maybe I was a hard student and I wasn't listening, but I wished I would have known I would have had more time to do this because it allows me a very different strategy. I'm getting really comfortable with, oh, wow, I'm going to be able to add 1,000 Bitcoin to my family position. I think between 500 and 1,000 Bitcoin, I did not anticipate being able to do. Now now I can do some planning because I thought, you guys tell me, hey, it's going to just take off like this, dude. So I have a bunch of things going on. My life is not just one Bitcoin monopoly game. Right. And I'm trying to move pieces around going, oh, wow, maybe I have more time than I thought I did.
If somebody had just dollar cost average over the last 5 years, since the very top, let's say 69K, November 2021, they would be up 60%. If they just bought weekly, they'd be up 60% on their investment.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty great. Like if you had, even if I ran the numbers on this, the S&P 500 in that time is up about 45%, while Bitcoin is down 7%. But if you had dollar cost average into Bitcoin, you'd be up 60%. Whereas if you had dollar cost average into the S&P 500, you'd only be up 40%. To me, it's about total returns, right?
Those are
I like
monster returns either way, though, right?
Sorry.
See, that's the other thing. There are monster returns elsewhere. Monster returns elsewhere.
I think there's going to be a mean reversion, right? Bitcoin is going to have monster returns going forward.
Yeah, maybe, but right now, if you're looking
right now, it's underperforming, right?
I mean, and you're right. It is down a time horizon. Look how long. See, to me, when I bring up gold and stuff like that, the counter to that, because these are supposed to be debates, the counter to that is, wow, it took 1,000 years for gold to do this. Wow, and look what happened in the last 2 years, right? Something structurally changed. It took Visa and MasterCard 52 years to get credit cards in your pocket so pervasive that you don't even think about carrying dollars. 52 years. And Bitcoin's sitting around with a big, strong dick, like spraying everywhere. But like, dude, you can't get adoption this way. Okay? You can't. And it doesn't happen this way. You just don't understand distribution. The distribution
Which
is hard.
goes
Man.
back to the topic that
Ask my
you
brother. How do you
mentioned was,
get
are
to
we early?
150
And the
million in
answer is,
sales,
yeah.
right? One sale at a time
We're
is how you got
crazy
there.
early.
I think one thing that's interesting about Gary, after knowing you for a while, if I may, I don't think that Gary is actually bearish. Like, I think he does this thing where he's trying to kind of play devil's advocate and be reasonable. And I do think that's the only reason that you can actually get people on board, is because if we just kind of put our blinders on and say, no matter what, this is going to go up and like, this is the narrative, you actually lose trust that way. So reassessing what you actually believe consistently and in a really kind of aggressive way that Gary does, I think, on his own and journaling, is really the only way, I think, to make the best decision in the long run, because it is possible that something could change. Like, if we just tell ourselves that it can't, then we're going to miss out on other opportunities, or like stay in this echo chamber where we end up hurting ourselves. And not only that, we can become more bearish with time, because you just get smacked in the face with like a horrible investment, maybe that you've done, not just in Bitcoin, but maybe something else. And then you think, oh, wow, I can't even trust my own judgment. So retesting over and over again. And this is partly why we have these debates, and like making sure we're on the right track, like bringing, Rajat on and Tyler, and reassessing, like, are we actually doing the right thing, is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in the middle. People think, oh, Bitcoin has failed. Other people think that Bitcoin is going to billions of dollars overnight. It's in the middle. Like, we have to be more realistic, like Gary said. Be more realistic. It hasn't performed well in the last few years, and that's perfectly fine. I'm personally okay with it, but keep in mind, like you said, Gary, not everybody's okay with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, man. My friends who now watch this, they most certainly are. They were probably more like, "Hey, man, I need to buy this at 90," and now they're looking at it going, "Oh, this shit scares me, dude." Like, people don't like to be wrong, They really don't like to be wrong, and I think that's what I think that, like, my job for myself is to constantly ask myself, "Hey, could I possibly have something wrong here?" And that is what everyone should be doing when their position is large enough. And the audience, and then Dana, let's start wrapping up. But the audience should be listening. Hey, when a guy tells you he doesn't care about a $40,000 change in price that happened in 6 weeks, his cost base must be extremely low. Okay, because I get phone calls. Okay, there's lots of things that happen to me that, oh wow, it turns off a lot of people. So price is a really, I think it's very, very important. And that nobody cares that silver went down 18% in one day. They don't compare these to Bitcoin, because the stories on Bitcoin are just, well, we're just young. That's I think, I get back, oh wow, we're a $1.4 trillion industry because we're behaving it that way. And we're gonna just have to work some things out here. And I don't mean to be negative
Do you
about
think
it.
all of us should maybe set lower expectations going forward? I know I personally set in my own mind on what I thought this cycle would bring. It
Well,
was
Tyler,
definitely below
I
my
don't understand.
expectation. Do Do you
I don't
think we should
understand why
all?
people look at a past CAGR and then go, okay, that's my future CAGR. Look, I look at Bitcoin and go, hey, can I make 12% a year? Because if I can make 12% a year, that's fucking better than anything I've ever been able to achieve. Every year, 12%? That is a great thesis. I don't need 30 and 40. I never ran 30 and 40 in my model. 12, dude, 12, boom. And there'll be years when it's negative, but I don't really care. Okay, and then what happens if I'm wrong? My kids grow up exactly like I did. That's it. In fact, they'll have AI that they won't even have the struggle I have if they're willing to work, if they're willing to stick their nose in, if they're willing to hustle. I mean, you might not be willing to, but if you have to work, you will. So, look, where I end up, I survey the market, I survey the price, I look at it and go, everybody got it wrong. What don't I not know that I think I know that's wrong? And then I ask myself the last question, where else am I going to invest money for 4 to 8 years? I don't know the answer to it, dude. I cannot put it in NVIDIA. I will not invest it with Netflix. Yeah, I could go buy some gold mining stocks. It seems really bizarre to me that I would be buying analog companies for a digital future. That it just seems really stupid. Okay, I could be wrong. Maybe we go back to, fire pits and copper, but my bet is we're moving into a technological age, and Bitcoin's set up here really well. Sadly, the Bitcoin community is probably the worst enemy to itself because it created so many other tokens. You guys really like your egos, man. The need to be right and the control. It's cost Bitcoin a lot. So, and until we work through it, and I'll just say that, like, this is my risk quotient. Hey, look, you have to work through Vitalik. Okay, the Ethereum Foundation has to figure, are you going to survive? Because if they don't survive, Bitcoin's going to be in a shit show for years. Okay, it's too much money. And all these, the whole crypto digital space is just littered with dead companies yet to be acknowledged. Dead tokens yet to be fucking buried. There's still too many projects stifling money away from projects. It's really sad. And it's trapped. So again, and then you have a downturn like this, that money's trapped. You have to have external funds. And
Guys,
so we either wait or we change our marketing program. Go ahead, Rajat.
I got to head out. Sorry, I have another meeting. Gary, really great to talk to you. Tyler, Dana, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I can come on again. When Bitcoin's up.
Thank you for
Good
coming.
to finally see you in person, Rajat.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks, Dana, for putting this together. I think we all answered the question of the day, which, are we early? I think we're so silly early that we're like not even a teenager. We're like a toddler, like screaming like babies on the internet. Right?
Well, that can be the problem with any business, though, is if your timing is off, like it's not good. Like for a good business.
And the people that bought it 120 are not feeling good.
Right. But it is a good thing to constantly reassess, because if we are way too early, then, we'll be waiting a long time. So that's kind of, I think, what we're trying to talk about is like the opportunity cost of just being all in. Like that is something we should continue to maybe reassess, especially as this little teenager or toddler starts to grow up, because the terrible twos come on, and then, that's when they start to get crabby, and we have to be prepared for what's going to happen when institutions actually get in, and what kind of manipulation could be happening in the market, that sort of thing.
Dana, thank you. Tyler, thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate you. I'm going to a lacrosse game right now.
Oh, lacrosse.
Enjoy.
I'm going to watch lacrosse in cold weather. I'm not looking forward to it.
Okay, well,
Gary, was it you or your brother that had the place in Malibu?
Grant.
Okay. Did it burn?
I don't think it burned down. I think he's the
Okay.
only
So our
one
place
that
burned.
didn't
We were in the
burn.
Palisades.
Oh yeah.
I'm in
Congratulations.
a snowstorm right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that at least.
Yeah. All right, guys, I got to roll. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
Bye, Dana.
Tuesday. Bye.
Bye, Gary.